Hi, I am Rohan Sarkar and I work with free ranging dogs, aka stray dogs. So, do you know what turned the big bad wolves into man's best friend? Food. Yes, that's right. 15,000 years ago, a hungry wolf discovered a new resource, garbage dumps in human settlements, and they decided to be friendly with us to access it. Over the years, some of these friendly wolves turned from apex hunters into the urban scavengers we know today as stray dogs. And yet, despite sharing our living spaces with us for so long, we know so little about these canids. Here's another factoid. The biggest difference between the wolf and the dog is the dog's ability to digest carbohydrates, and it happened because we discovered agriculture. Yes, that's how intertwined we are. Knowing this and the fact that India has a carb-heavy diet, we wondered whether following our diet for so long has cost these dogs their ancestral preference for meat. We designed a series of experiments to figure out whether the dogs still have a preference and what do they do to maintain that preference. In the following verses, I'll give you a little glimpse into this work. Sit back, relax. Tap your feet to the rhythm. If it's not your jam, take it easy with the criticism. This here is my model organism. I'm Rohan and he is Mr. Dog. And we are gonna have a dialogue. Not pet, not wild, that's not my style. The streets are my home, I'm stray, I roam. Humans too, run you through. City, village, suburbia. If you get too close, it's adios, they'll take a stick and serve ya. Life is hard, but I'm free, and that's unchanging. Scientifically speaking, Mr. Dog is free-ranging. Stray, pariah, free-ranging. The meanings are same, only words changing, letters exchanging. You know what people will find engaging? Your strategies of scavenging. What's there to say? I scavenge and forage and eat from dustbin. Anytime he sees a garbage heap, he must jump in. I live on scraps, on leftovers and waste. Crows, cats, cows, there's a lot at stake, so I post haste. Roti, rice, meat, he'll have them all. And then some more.
What can I say? I'm a foodie. I'm an omnivore. But that doesn't mean I have no preference. I follow the rule of thumb. That's my frame of reference. If it smells like meat, I'll eat. Lick my plate clean and complete.
Hold on. The experiment which discovered the rule of thumb was in an artificial setting. If you provide a dog with a variety of food on a platter with all the time to choose, of course it's going to go for its favorite food. But what happens when we simulate real-world conditions and real-world pressures? Do the dogs still follow a preference or do they eat what they can? We filled 3 baskets with food and trash to simulate garbage bins. To gauge preference, one box was filled with 10 pieces of chicken and was called the protein box. The other had 10 of bread and was called the carb box. And the third had 5 each of chicken and 5 of bread and was called the mixed box. After spotting a random dog, we would start the experiment. As in real life, dogs eat in short bursts, therefore here too we gave them 1 minute to forage and eat. This was also enough time for them to start sniffing and eating, but not enough for them to finish the food. We shuffled the order of the boxes with every trial to remove further bias and video recorded everything. We analyzed their sniffing and eating sequence and patterns which helped us gauge if they had a preference.
So what I thought was a God-sent langar, it was you taking advantage of our collective hunger.
Oh, stop being so melodramatic and drop the ruse. Accept it. I made an offer you couldn't refuse. So why don't you tell us the results already?
The first thing I do, I check the menu. I sniff all my options to a thorough review.
Speaking scientifically, all 3 boxes were sniffed equally.
I'm always on the lookout for chicken.
When I find it, my heart quickens.
I eat them so fast I'm wanted for speeding. Like my lupine ancestors, I do rapid feeding.
I'll eat the other options when I find the time. The protein box was eaten from maximum number of times. To summarize, the dogs do show preference. Meat is eaten in amounts twice that of bread. So how do they apply the rule of thumb in real world scenario? They do so through a strategy called the sniff and snatch, wherein they prioritize finding their preferred food, and this is important, in highest available quantity over other easily accessible food and eat it immediately. They will even bypass the mixed box which has the lower quantity of their preferred food. This shows a certain decision-making capability in the face of risk and uncertainty on the part of the dog. In a dog-eat-dog world, this is the only recourse. Staying alive is all about being an efficient and differential utilizer of resource. Sniff and snatch is my scavenging ideology. It's a brilliant strategy. Protein eat immediate, then the rest. This dog knows the best.
Ah, so you maximize your nutritive gain, huh?
That's how I topple the vulture from the top of the scavenging food chain. So the rule of thumb gets a slight modification. If it smells like meat, eat it first is now my slogan.
This was the first time it was shown that an animal can discern quantity and quality from smell alone.
But he still wasn't happy. No, he wanted to up the difficulty level and make it more real.
So we kept the setup same and let them come in groups to feed. Put on your dog glasses and let's see what they did.
Doing the experiment in groups introduces a new variable, competition among group members. The first dog to arrive at the setup was called the first responder, followed by the second responder. Third onwards, they were called the rest of the responders.
Earlier, a single dog ate from the best possible resource, high on quality and quantity, the protein box. But competition had its first effect. The eating pattern of individuals in a group had changed. While the first responder had the luxury of choosing from the best resources, but it also had to be mindful of the other dogs coming to eat. So instead of searching for the highest quantity of meat or protein exclusively, they ate from wherever their preferred food was available, which is why we observed first responders eating from protein and mixed box maximally. The second responder had to further compromise on quantity and settle only for quality, leading to eating from the mixed box maximum number of times, and the rest of the responders ate whatever was left. But this is not a simple case of first come first serve basis. The first and the second responders actively prevent the rest of the responders from eating through aggression and other subtle cues.
The important thing from all that blah blah is that preference is a privilege of the bourgeois. As we go down the responder order, less likely that the dogs can eat what they prefer. Applying the rule of thumb in a group is a matter of position. There is hierarchy in dogs shown for the first time in this edition. Now you see, I ain't dumb. I don't eat blindly. I make insightful decisions and choices consciously to acquire the best possible food rather quickly. Was that interesting? I sure do hope. Well, that's all, folks.